You're such an idiot. Can't you handle this more efficiently? It's infuriating just to watch you. The harassment from my sister-in-law, Michelle, escalated day by day, even starting to interfere with my work from home. But I didn't let it break me because there was a job I desperately wanted to complete. My name is Amanda Smith, 29 years old, working as a contract employee for a certain company. I live modestly with my dad, who takes over the household chores to relieve my busy schedule. He races through life without a break, raising me on his own. Gradually, I wanted to ease his burden a bit. When I was still in elementary school, my dad placed his large hand on my head and said, "You don't have to try so hard with the housework. Use your time as you like. That makes me happier." Dad was always kind and generous, no matter how tired he was. Secretly, I wished for his happiness. I hoped Dad would find great happiness someday. This small wish came true a few years ago when Dad's new wife, Barbara, entered our lives. Barbara, with her daughter Michelle, moved into the house where Dad and I lived. Barbara was honest and kind-hearted, a wonderful woman. In contrast, her daughter Michelle was prideful and cunning. It didn't take long for Michelle, initially quiet and reserved, to show her true colors. One day, as usual, I prepared lunch for Dad and sent him off to work. Barbara was away on a business trip since yesterday, and Michelle, a college student, should have had lectures today. I decided to prepare her lunch before she woke up. Even with 4 in the family, I still managed all the household chores. Working from home gave me some flexibility, and I didn't mind cleaning or cooking. It was a nice break from work, refreshing my mind. Barbara, now my stepmother, often said she felt bad having me do everything, but I assured her I enjoyed it. By the time I set breakfast for Michelle and me on the table, I heard her coming down the stairs, groggy. Michelle entered the living room, and I greeted her, "Good morning. Breakfast is ready. Your lunch is on the table too. Feel free to take it." Michelle paused and said, "I'm not going to college today." "Ha, but your calendar said you had lectures. They were rescheduled later." I updated the calendar. "Didn't you see it?" Sorry, haven't checked yet." In our house, where lifestyles greatly differ, we decided to write down schedules on a shared calendar. I'm still not used to this new habit, and sometimes I forget to check. Michelle sighed heavily and muttered, "You're really clumsy," before returning to her room. I didn't take her words too seriously, assuming she was just cranky from waking up. 2 weeks passed since then. After days of relentless rain, it finally cleared up on a sunny Saturday morning. Feeling refreshed, I was hanging laundry when I sensed Michelle, who had slept in, getting up. But something was off. She rushed from the bathroom to the upstairs, then hurried back down, looking around the living room. "Hey, where's my skirt?" Michelle's demanding tone was suddenly directed at me. "If you mean the one in the laundry basket yesterday, I'm about to hang it." "No, the one I asked you to wash separately 2 days ago. I told you at dinner, remember?" "Oh, that one. It had a small tear, so I decided to mend it before washing separately. I finished mending it last night, and it's in the washer now." "What? Didn't you listen to me? I said I needed it washed early because I'm wearing it today. Are you even listening?" I was at a loss for words. Indeed, she had asked to wash that long skirt separately, but I wasn't informed she needed it today. I recalled our conversation from 2 nights ago. "I want to wear it next Saturday, so please wash it by then." "Next Saturday is in next week." Yeah, don't make me repeat myself." Michelle ended the conversation abruptly, playing with her phone. That's when the misunderstanding occurred, and it was Michelle who hadn't listened properly. Though I had no reason to be blamed, I didn't want to argue and said, "Sorry, I misunderstood the date." But Michelle, standing before me, glared with a disdainful look. "Think an apology solves everything. This is why I hate dumb people. Having a high school graduate sister is just unbearable. Can't even manage household stuff properly." Michelle attends an elite university known nationwide. Our worlds are different, yet I had hoped we'd get along now that we're family. "Just to be clear, I never thought of you as family from the start," Michelle said mockingly with a disturbing smile. Seeing that expression, I realized our differences might be harder to bridge than I thought. Since that day, I felt an eerie chill. Michelle's disdain towards me became more apparent in her actions. When I worked from home, loud music blared from Michelle's room, not just disrupting my work but loud enough to be a nuisance to the neighbors. "Could you lower the volume a bit? The neighbors might complain," I asked timidly. "What? Don't boss me around. I'm annoyed by the typing sounds from your room," she retorted, slamming the door in my face. On another occasion, Michelle brought friends home and loudly declared, "Isn't it embarrassing having the high school graduate sister who can't even get a decent job? I wish she'd move out soon." One of her friends, leaving jokingly, said to my door, "Sorry for disturbing. Michelle feels sorry for you, so please move out soon, okay?" Her friends laughed as they passed my room. These harassments always happened when our parents were away. In front of Dad and Barbara, Michelle played the role of a good sister, eerily amicable towards me. Before long, Michelle graduated from university and secured a job at a major corporation. Within a year, she got engaged to her company's superior. By then, I had moved out to live alone, freeing myself from daily harassments and gradually regaining a peaceful life. One day, an invitation to Michelle's wedding arrived. The ceremony was to be held overseas. Sighing, I placed the invitation on a nearby table. About 3 months later, I boarded a plane from Los Angeles International Airport to France. Since moving out, I had become distant from my family. I was worried about Dad, but Barbara was with him. Without me in that house, Michelle wouldn't cause trouble to preserve Dad's happiness. I wanted to avoid family conflicts, so it was better to keep my distance from Michelle and minimize visits to my family home. To Dad and Barbara, I explained that I moved out to focus on my career. Despite the suddenness, they respected my decision, telling me, "Don't worry about home. Just do what you think is right. Yes, you should pursue what you want. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance," they said with a smile. It's true that Michelle's actions affected my work, but that wasn't the only reason I left. I felt it was time to confront my own life and take a new step. On the night before Michelle's wedding, in my hotel room, as I checked the dress and belongings for the next day, my phone rang. Michelle's name appeared on the screen, and a bad feeling washed over me. Hesitantly, I answered the phone. It was Michelle's voice after several months. "Hey, long time no see. Where are you right now?" she asked. "I'm in a hotel in Paris," I replied. There was a brief pause in the conversation, then laughter erupted from the other end. "Really went, huh? Are you stupid? How crazy can you be?" she mocked. "What do you mean, the overseas wedding was a lie?" "Fooled you as expected. I'll send the real invitation later, okay? By the way, if you don't show up, I'll ruin something very dear to you," she threatened. The call ended there, and I sat weakly on the bed. Michelle had played a cruel trick on me, and she might be planning another scheme. Additionally, Michelle said, moreover, she threatened to ruin what's most important to me if I didn't attend. Such an act could harm not just me but Dad and Barbara as well. Michelle could easily do something like that. The peace I had regained seemed to crumble in my mind. As long as Michelle and I are family, the situation will continue. I have no choice but to meekly follow Michelle's actions always. Then my thoughts abruptly stopped. Why did I leave home? Wasn't it to fully pursue what I wanted? I haven't achieved anything yet. Instead of feeling weak, I should work to change the situation. Even someone like me can find a way to stand up to Michelle. I rose from the bed and reached for the curtains by the window. Outside, the Parisian night unfolded. Life is strange sometimes. When wandering in the dark, the path forward is illuminated and becomes clear. This was one of those moments. I closed the curtains, turned off the light, and slid into bed. The earlier anxiety had vanished, replaced by a soothing drowsiness. I closed my eyes slowly. Eventually, I spent about a week in France, taking the opportunity to enjoy sightseeing before returning home recharged. I returned to the US and threw myself into work, forgetting to eat and sleep. I spent days glued to my computer, my mind running at full speed, devouring documents and typing furiously. After 2 months of this lifestyle, I visited a specific place. Walking down the main street in front of the station, I entered one of the buildings. Exiting the elevator on the 3rd floor, I knocked on the first door down the hall. A soft female voice invited me in from inside. In my tote bag was a thick file. At home, inside was a large amount of copy paper that I had printed out. I intended to hand these to someone. As I touched the doorknob, a wave of nervousness made my fingers tremble. It's okay, I've done everything I could. Now it was up to fate. I calmed myself down and quietly stepped into the room on the day of Michelle's wedding. I had called the venue to inform them of my absence. Michelle probably thought I underestimated her, that high school graduate fool. Prideful Michelle, always needing to feel superior. But now, I understood Michelle lacked something vital, something I possessed, but she did not. A knock on the dressing room door and a man peeked in. "Excuse me, it's almost time. Are you ready?" "Yes, I'm ready. I'll be right out," I replied. I picked up a Western book from beside me and left the room. At the same time, Michelle's wedding reception was underway. Stephen, her husband, was the son of a corporate president. Among the guests were some notable figures, and Michelle was inwardly proud. While everyone enjoyed the grand food and friends' performances, a man discreetly approached Stephen. After whispering something, Stephen said to Michelle, "Amanda isn't coming today. She appeared on TV. Did you know?" Michelle was taken aback, clueless. Looking towards the guests, she noticed some commotion among Stephen's invitees. It was also streamed online. Seems to be quite a topic. A colleague from Michelle's company nearby was heard speaking on her phone. "I've read this book too. Just released last month, and already going for a reprint. It's a foreign sci-fi novel. The author passed away long ago, but it turns out it's written by a globally renowned scientist," someone started saying. Online, another colleague at the same table mentioned, "That's the one that's been trending on social media recently, right? It's got futuristic predictive scenes, and a friend told me it's interesting." A translator named Amanda Smith. "She was on a show today." Now, Amanda Smith, isn't that Michelle's sister-in-law's name? Hearing this, Michelle immediately opened her mobile phone. A search on her timeline brought up my name. The top article read, "Historic Scientist's Posthumous Work Discovered. Interview with translator Amanda Smith on her encounter with the book." The wedding venue was already buzzing with this news. Amid the commotion, the ceremony soon concluded. After changing in the dressing room, Michelle stepped into the hallway to see her parents and Stephen, along with Stephen's parents, in a tense atmosphere. Such an embarrassment, being the subject of harassment. "We were clueless, and now we don't even know how to respond to inquiries from acquaintances," said Daniel, Stephen's father and the head of a major corporation, in a stern tone. "I've dined with Michelle numerous times, but she never once mentioned her sister-in-law Amanda. Are they on bad terms? You know, I value family bonds. I was lenient because Stephen seems smitten, but I hear some women at the company don't think highly of Michelle. Do you think I know nothing?" Finally, Daniel added, "You better make this right. Call Amanda immediately. Arrange for me to meet her directly. If you can't reach Amanda, consider this marriage null and void." Doing away with a marriage was easy for someone like Daniel. If the marriage were called off after such a grand ceremony, it would severely tarnish Michelle's reputation. She'd be too embarrassed to face her colleagues, and her friends would surely ridicule her. Michelle, pale-faced, frantically pulled out her mobile phone. First call, second call, only the hollow ring. Fifth call, the automated voice responded, "The number you're trying to reach is not answering." "Maybe she's blocked you," her father suggested. "No way. Amanda must just be busy," Michelle defended. Skipping a day on the wedding itself is not normal, unless there's an accident or illness, especially for family. "I don't want to invite more trouble into my home. A woman like you, prone to problems, is clearly not suitable for our family," Daniel concluded. "But the ceremony is already over, Stephen. Don't just stand there. Say something." Michelle looked at Stephen with her characteristic pleading eyes. But Stephen turned away, refusing to look at her. At that moment, Michelle realized something. Her parents, standing behind her, were silent, just observing. They could have defended their daughter, but hadn't said a word. "Mom, it's not my fault, right? Tell them it's not my fault," Michelle pleaded. Barbara smiled ruefully and said, "Actually, I got a call from Amanda yesterday. She said she couldn't make it to the wedding for some reasons. It's a long story, but you'll understand soon. It might be inconvenient for both of you, but she asked for forgiveness just this once. It's a big moment in her life." That's what Amanda said. "What do you mean you knew about today? You knew and didn't tell me?" Michelle exclaimed. "Yes, exactly. If I had told you, you would have interfered, right? After all the trouble you've caused. Amanda, you never learn. Really, you're impossible." I felt like I failed as a mother. Michelle listened with a defiant expression. "We thought if you experienced some hardship, you'd understand," I continued. "So Dad and I discussed it, and as bad as we felt for Amanda, we decided to turn a blind eye. It seems this is a family matter. We, as outsiders, should leave." But someone interjected, "Wait, please. We're not done here. I'll bring Amanda. I promise. Please reconsider." "Daniel, I don't want to be addressed by my name by you. Do you want to anger me further?" I warned. Even Michelle fell silent under Daniel's stern gaze. This time, she had picked the wrong battle. She watched, dismayed, as Stephen and his parents walked away, tasting her biggest defeat. finally realizing her emptiness after successfully appearing on the TV show. I was dining with an acquaintance at a French dinner at a luxurious hotel. Across from me sat Pamela, a dignified, calm, elderly lady. I chose this place to celebrate. I wonder if a more casual setting would have been better, I admitted nervously. No, I'm really grateful. It's my first time dining somewhere like this, so I'm a bit nervous, Pamela replied. I like your honesty. Just be yourself. I don't like formalities either. Enjoy the meal to the fullest. Pamela's titles included French literature researcher, translator, and translation school lecturer. She was also my mentor. I once found an old Western book among Mom's belongings. Dad said its origin was unknown. It appeared to be a novel written in French, with notes throughout indicating Mom had read it repeatedly. I remembered how Mom hummed foreign songs while cooking or doing laundry. It happened before I could remember clearly. Could those lyrics have been in French? I started reading the book bit by bit, translating with a dictionary, and got absorbed in its world. I became enchanted with the French language. I devoured French books and translated my favorites. I was so engrossed that I lost track of time. After becoming a working adult, I started attending translation school during nights and weekends. One of my teachers, impressed by my language skills, introduced me to translation work. I was delighted to take it on, especially since it could be done from home. Around the same time, Dad decided to remarry. Even with the increased family size, my work wasn't affected, except for the issues with Michelle. I was surprised when you handed me a thick manuscript. Your translation skills were professional level, and the novel had a unique worldview. I had been translating for years, but I was never quite satisfied with my work. It took a long time, but completing it helped me grow mentally. Yes, translation is a battle with oneself. Each completed work feels like shedding a skin. It's fascinating, I agreed. Pamela smiled warmly upon hearing my words. It's a blessing to have something you want to pursue passionately in life. When I returned home after a long time, Barbara greeted me. Dad was still busy with work, coming home late as usual. I heard footsteps coming down from upstairs. Ah, finally awake, Michelle. You have a part-time job today. After the wedding cancellation and leaving her job, Michelle seemed to have been staying home. Barbara had told her, "How long will you sulk? Do you want to live miserably like this forever? If you don't want to start over, you better leave this house." Worried about being kicked out, Michelle reluctantly started looking for part-time work and settled on a grocery store clerk position. As Michelle passed by the living room, she glanced at me awkwardly and hurried out the door. "Amanda, you're going overseas for work, right? You said something about a potential contract with a new author," Barbara said. "Yes, it looks like it's going to be finalized, but they want to meet in person," I replied. "That's great. I'm relieved to hear your translation work is going well. Take care, and I'm looking forward to the souvenirs." Barbara's innocent smile made me smile too. Continuing to do what I love is enough for me. I thought it was that simple. My ability to become a translator was because I maintained a pure heart. It's a gift from Mom in heaven, a talent to enjoy life to the fullest. On my way back from my parents' house, I passed by a dogwood tree. Stopping to look, I saw many buds waiting to bloom. Surely, I'm just getting started too. Bloom one flower at a time. I'll continue on my path as the gentle spring breeze blew. I started walking again.